So I'm going to put this in the highlight reel. We'll see today if we come up with any positives. Okay. See how that lines up when we get there. So I know most of my viewers are on my Discord, but in the off chance that you are not, I thought I'd mention that if you're not, the sheet for the Game of the Year, the Walker Choice Awards, whatever you want to call them, is Jesus Christ, Alex, is up and not quite ready to go. What I mean by that, let me just summarize this a little bit here. Oh, it was fun, Lunera, let me tell you what. Anyways, if you type in !GOTY, you'll get a link to the sheet. Now, it's not editable yet. I'm not going to open it up for editing until we're done with Devil May Cry 5, because I want to make sure people have full cognizance before doing so or getting into it. But you can get an idea for what categories there are and what games exist that qualify. Good God. What?
Kill me!
That man is going to bring me the Arcana shortly. You will live to see that.
That's just a piece of crap.
Oh.
Oh, Arcana.
Here's another 3 for you.
No!
Crap like that doesn't interest me. But your swan song will.
Right. I should actually be playing the game. Yes, that's right. One of his animations is literally smoking a cigar. I should see if I have a taunt. That's not the taunt button. I do not seem to have a taunt. That's the select button.
Must obtain the power of Argosax, or I cannot transcend all living things.
Too easy.
You cannot win. Someone is holding you back.
Forget about me. Kill Arius.
Don't worry. I've got you.
We have literally doubled the amount of lines we had in just that cutscene. That's a good question, Magister. In the States, it makes perfect sense, because people in English read left to right. So the first place the eye goes to in English in order to try and figure out what's what is left. And I was about to say in Japanese, even in Japanese, most games back in the day, back in the 80s, would progress left to right, so your eye is already kind of going in that direction. Other than that, I don't know. Good morning, Walker. Oh, speaking of it, Zach Taft asked a question.
You save me. I was created
Which I'll get to in a second.
by him,
Every hero has a weakness.
but the ritual was activated because of me.
What?
There's still time.
We have until the sun is completely eclipsed. But how are you going to enter the building? The entrance is...
Where there's a will, right?
I have absolutely no idea what's going on with these cutscenes, and I know the lore of this game. This is just confusing at this point. Sorry, Linarith, you asked a question. Would I recommend you play D2 before watching the run? I recommend you play D2 in general. It's a good game. But your second question is, will I be covering D2R? Yes, during the Diablo review series, which will be next year, I'll be reviewing 1, 2, and 3. Alright, where's my review doc? There you are. Like I said, I know the lore of this game, if you can call it that, and I'm just like, what? Yeah, there's an eclipse starting, and it's something bad. It was activated by her. She was made by Arius. Arius is doing something. There's an explosion. I'm not sure why we have to get into a building that we literally just leapt out of. Again. I have a concept I call story sequencing. Story sequencing is what I like to call the connective tissue in between moments in a story. It's actually really important for storytelling, and a surprisingly large number of fiction doesn't know how to do good story sequencing. Most of it's just kind of generic, of course, but every now and again we run into something, game, movie, show, book, or play, where the story sequencing is actively nonsensical to the point where you're wondering, why are we doing this now? And the answer is, of course, because it's the next plot point. But, like, there's no in-universe reasoning for why we've decided to charge up a building, to take out an infested helicopter, to charge back down, to go into a ruins section, to then go and infiltrate a corporate building, to fight a guy, then to leave, and now we're... What? There's no connective tissue. There's no logic here. That's terrible. Yeah, ironically, I imagine in this game in particular, what they literally did was they had the scenario plotted out. And they said, we can't do that. So they chopped out chunks in the middle, and now the scenario's here. I don't know if that's true, because again, behind-the-scenes information on this game is kind of wonky. But it wouldn't surprise me. Let's go ahead and just give out those additional story negatives there. Oh, actually, we're up to here, aren't we? Splitting a story between multiple campaigns? StarCraft! That's my thought about that. Yeah, remember, 4 to 6 months development time. Zachtev asked a question I wanted to answer, too. Do you think this would be a negative in Resident Evil games? That every game has to have a cabin defense section like Resident Evil 4? Do I agree? No, I don't agree with automatic positives or automatic negatives. What would actually happen for me is I would have to decide, based on each individual iteration, if it was actually worth a damn or not. Simply doing something that a previous game did is neither a positive nor a negative. It's just a thing. Oh, by the way, Lunareth asks if Charcy was made as a replacement for Word in Diablo. The answer is, I have absolutely no idea. Ironically, despite having done a lore run of that series, I have no information on the matter. Okay. Well, you know we're in Demon Land because of the Dutch angle. I rarely do this. I thought about doing this in 1. But in 1, it was only for, like, one brief thing. But, see, here's the thing. There's a lot of argument amongst filmmakers and television makers about the Dutch angle. A lot of people disagree on its use, misuse, overuse, etc. Allow me to sit firmly on the opinion that if you are going to use a Dutch angle, you need to do it almost not at all. That's a terrible way to phrase that, but you get my meaning, right? You want to use the Dutch angle as a precision point for like one brief moment, and you generally want to do it in a way that actually makes sense. So let me try to explain that. Let's say that you've got a scene, and as this scene is progressing, things are happening that are kind of weird, but it's okay because it still makes a degree of logic. But the further into the scene you get, the more you start to have that sort of disconnect. And as you're going through it, what the cameraman, the physical guy with the camera, is doing is he is very, very, very slowly rotating the camera to the point where you can't even notice the movement unless you're really looking for it. So at the beginning of this, like, 6-minute scene, it starts here, and at the end of the 6-minute scene, it starts here. That's how you use a Dutch angle right there. Because the idea is you want the transition to be so gentle that you don't even really notice it's there until all of a sudden it's like, hold up. And then you don't keep doing that. You don't just stay on the Dutch angle. Unfortunately, a lot of filmmakers and television makers have both fallen into a very common pattern. The Dutch angle equals things are wrong. And that's fine, but it's overused in that exact extent. Because it becomes shorthand. It becomes the shortcut of, something's wrong, clunk. I'm in a dream, clunk. Oh my god, there's some mind-affecting thing happening, clunk, and so forth and so on. And it becomes the default. It doesn't work quite the same way. It doesn't help the fact, so I should mention the other reason I'm not in favor of the Dutch angle is because, God, it's actually more complicated than that. It's harder to do proper shots in motion with a Dutch angle, and it's much easier to make the viewer actually legitimately disoriented, as in to the point of nausea, with a Dutch angle when you're doing with something in motion. So, not great things, especially to overuse. Then again, you probably shouldn't listen to me. I'm the person who believes in 60 frames per second and in not doing depth of field, or at least not overusing depth of field. My television production teacher used to make fun of me because he was like, you just want to go against the grain. I was like, no. I just disagree with the grain. There's a difference. Correct, Lineruth. I feel the marriage of the 24 frames per second thing is just irritating and honestly completely out of date. Like, I could tell you why it started, but that's decades old at this point. We have technology now to make movies in 60 frames per second. Now, hang on. The manager in me also dislikes the 24 frames per second thing, because I'm sure some of you in chat do know, but do you know how much crap has to be done in post, and in pre, actually, in order to make sure that the film looks right when doing 24 FPS. We've actually talked about this before. Here, I'll go and make this a topic. Because one of the reasons that video games tend to look worse when they lower the frame rate is because of the nature of the medium. And they're not doing anything to make up for the lower frame rate. But films have tricks upon tricks upon tricks upon tricks in order to try and make it so that that 24 FPS doesn't look literally unnatural. But all of those tricks take time and time and time and money. Now, Alex has an interesting and valid point. Most cinemas are not completely set up for a 60 FPS thing. Right? Wrong! That's also outdated information at this point. Because the thing is, back in the day when it was literally a reel that had to be attached to a device that would then spool up and play through the frames, yeah, sure. That's not true for the most part. That hasn't been true for the most part for years at this point. Yeah, it's digital. Yeah, digital projectors. And digital projectors have been above 60 FPS for, again, years. Now, having said that, there are probably individual theaters with individual projectors where they'd have to upgrade that projector, and that's valid. That's a valid thing and a valid concern. I don't think it's sufficient to justify adhering to the 24 FPS format, but it is nevertheless a valid point to make. Now, Linnea says, why do they look weird when they try to do 60 FPS movies? So there's two reasons. One is they usually don't. What they usually do is interpolation, which isn't actually 60 FPS. It's weird. And it looks weird because it's weird. Like, that's pretty much the reason. The other reason is because, honestly, the only way I can explain this is you're probably used to watching the 24 FPS movie thing. Now, Blade Trevol mentions a very valid point. The 24 FPS thing is being done for artistic purposes. You are absolutely correct. I have seen interviews of many film directors and many camera directors specifically who, oh, hey look where we are! Home sweet home. Who insist upon the 24 FPS thing because that's cinema. That's what differentiates it from all that Netflix garbage or all that YouTube garbage. That's what makes true film. And I'm making fun of them because they're morons. But hang on, it gets even stupider than that. Because these are usually the people who insist that digital film is worse than physical film. And these people are very stupid. Okay, I think I know about that, Lune Ruth, but rather than answer you, I'm just going to say, I don't know. So, I don't know. The real problem here is it's difficult for us to really gauge what a movie would look like in 60 frames per second, because they aren't. The only way to properly do that would be to actually have a film that is 60 FPS, which they aren't. Like, the closest approximation of a gut test, which is what you're proposing, would be to sit down and be like, okay, here's a video on YouTube, which is 60 FPS. You know, made by people and designed to be some kind of, you know, theater or show or whatever. Then here's a movie on the same screen, so probably on your computer. And this is 24 FPS, and then you could gauge the two side by side like that. But the reason I say I don't know is because I only know the distance of rumors with regards to the 48 FPS thing, which, I don't like to comment on rumors as if I know what I'm talking about, because I don't. So last I checked, soap operas universally use interpolation to artificially become 60 FPS. I could be wrong about that, but every soap opera I'm aware of does that. Now that's in the more modern era, so maybe that became a thing because of 60 FPS? I don't know. But modern operas tend to deliberately do soap operas, excuse me, tend to deliberately do interpolation because it's the style, and it does look weird. It looks weird because it's weird. Like, interpolation looks off. I will freely agree with that. It doesn't actually look like 60 FPS because it isn't. Go figure. And thank you, Dean. Always appreciate, and I will jot that down for the messenger. Thank you. By the way, if you've never seen interpolation in action, like, is there a YouTube video that just shows it off? Because actually setting up interpolation on your monitor is kind of weird, and I wouldn't do that. But, like, actually having... Hell, my videos are 60 FPS, linear. What you're watching right now is 60 FPS. Although I don't know if the game is. But, you know, the stream is. What was I saying? If you've never seen, like, soap opera mode or interpolation, you should do it sometime. One time, me and my friend sat down and watched a couple of movies with interpolation turned on. And they were... The one that was the weirdest for me was A New Hope. Movie from the 70s, and it's just... It looked... elastic? I don't know how else to describe it. You gotta see it for yourself. It looks wild. I'll tell you what, Blade Terrell, after I take over the world, I am totally gonna do that. With everything I ever make. Although, if I'm being completely honest, I'm more interested in shows than movies, but that's whatever. I like this Dutch angle, by the way. Bring it back together. Dutch angles! Don't do them. Alright, next question. And honestly, I'm with Breakfast Sample of that. You notice we just looped? See you around, Brood Vibes. He saw that it was DMC2 and he fled. I have actually already gotten comments on the VODs, which basically say, yeah, I was going to watch this. And then it was DMC2. And, you know, honestly, fair. Okay, fine. If you're gonna interrupt my shots this much, we'll kill you all. Ping to you. Oh, and ping to you as well, Flag End. Thank you, X. I've been playing with a few ways to make it work without having to have the extra editing time. There's going to be a new method in the highlight reel for this very game, so do me a favor, if you get a chance, X, go ahead and watch it. Let me know when you think of that approach. But anyways, right, so I was going to answer something. Right, that's what I was going to talk about. I'm just stuck in Eternal Combat. Oh yeah, by the way, how long do you think we've spent fighting the Circle boss, the Guardian? Back in the yesterday, in the previous VOD. $20 minutes? Okay, that's a really good guess. That's a long time. In a game like this, that is an extraordinary period of time to be fighting one enemy. $15 minutes? That's still a long time. I mean, honestly, anything around 5+ minutes is a long time to be fighting a boss in a game like this. I know that sounds like a shorter period of time, but I want you to actually picture what 5 minutes feels like, you know, playing this game, or any of these games. 2 minutes! Lol. All good guesses. The answer is sometime over 25 minutes. I know that because I put the entire fight in the highlight reel. Oh, don't worry, I sped it up. But by definition, I was able to see the length of the entire fight in the editing reel. Now, credit where credit is due. I'm going to have to do some editing chicanery here to make this work, but credit where credit is due. You notice how we're all Dutch angly here? Did you notice we weren't during the fight? The game has actually been bothering to fix the camera in combat. That's good. That's actually a really good thing because of the aforementioned nausea problem. So already we see a little bit of good directorial design going on. And I wanted to mention something else, too. Oh, I wish, PB Goodbait. I kind of hinted at this earlier. Hang on, I think over here is the best example of it. It's not. Now I can't find it. I'm going to edit this section out in the highlight reel. That is correct, Blade Javal. Come on, there was a perfect spot for showing this off. I even thought about it at the time. I mean, off the top of my head, no, Act, but hopefully I'll remember them, and I will plan to add them at some point. Wow, this camera angle, look at that. Oh, whatever, now I can't find it. Also, if you paid attention, I got turned around in that. I'm just going to accept that. Well, there's the one. There, right there. Did you see how the camera went back to a Dutch angle from a regular one? There's demonstrating it live. Hey! Okay, here. This is as good of an example as I'm probably going to get. You notice the walls are literally distorted, like, in a way that makes them look as terrible as they actually are. This is something that's going to be a recurring trend in the series, where they like to be like, oh my god, you're in hell, and hell is distorted and evil. And the series has various ways of demonstrating that you're in the evil demon world. And this kind of distortion of the terrain and geometry is probably one of the better... Well, let me walk that back. It's better than what they did in 1. Let's just put it that way. In 1, it was literally nausea-inducing. It's also better than the gross, I agree with that. Hey, you're in hell, grossness! But yes, when I mean 25 minutes, I mean that's how much time I spent on the boss in general, not the successful attempt. I have no idea how long the successful attempt was. Well, it looks like it's... Alright, hang on. So where's... Yeah, the Dutch angle has a long and studied history. Come on, game. There we go. So I need to have that one equipped. Come on, camera. Work with me here. I can't even... I'm bumping up against it. There we go. The movement of the demon world is slowly intensifying. Need to release 3 more powers. Okay. Yeah, Battlefield Earth, also known as the movie where the film crew fell asleep, and so the whole film is done with a Dutch angle. Uh-oh. The organic gross is slowly glutting its way in. One of the film reviewers at the time commented that, I know that the director, whose name I don't remember, of Battlefield Earth, has heard of the Dutch angle, and that people use the Dutch angle, but I'm not sure he's heard of why. Yep, get our eyeballs. Get your eyeballs! Get your eyeballs! We got eyeballs here. Cool. I guess this is not the way. There's a good shot at how messed up the buildings are. You can see it up there up top. Okay, well, we're back to the loop, and I didn't see any other ones, so obviously I missed it, which sucks. And I need 3 more, or it's badly coded, and I actually need 2 more because I already got 1 of them. So I'm just going to force the camera up periodically, so hopefully we don't miss it. Favorite example of gameplay, story, integration of wrongness? That's actually a good question. As usual, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to process that for a bit. Although while I'm thinking about that, let me... because we had a bit of a glitch last night. We do have a question from Ect. So Ect asks, what programming language is the bot written under? I think it's Java? Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not actually certain. You also asked, what other reason besides not wanting to be evil do you have for not gaming the YouTube's and streaming system? Honestly, that is the primary reason. Like, I don't really need more reason than that. But there actually is another reason. It's just related to that reason. I want you to imagine, this shouldn't be hard. I want you to imagine you have a job that you hate. And every day you wake up to go to this job that you hate. What do you think that does to your life? Remember I mentioned yesterday about how many YouTubers I knew personally who had either quit or were in the process of quitting YouTube because of how much they hate working on YouTube? So, the other reason I don't want to be evil when it comes to, my show, is the fact that I would hate it. That might be enough. Probably not. Yeah, where's the other one? Where's the other one? As I am fond of saying, if I wanted a job that I didn't want to wake up for in the morning, I'd go back to networking. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It's very stressful on top of everything else. Now, that's whatever. I already have a pretty stressful job, but it is really, really easy for you to lose everything or to lose a lot just because you made one mistake or because trends changed or whatever. There's all kinds of reasons for everything to go to hell in a handbasket. There's a reason why most YouTubers and streamers who make it big then go out of their way to immediately invest that money. Not in the show, but in general, so they have an income that is completely detached from the show. I know I probably could use the flight, but I'm keeping up. This way I could save it for the next one, which might actually require it. Nope, it still says 2 more powers. Alright. Let's find the other 2. I do remember Boogie 29188 or whatever his number was. I am awares of him. There we go. Yeah, he got into some legal issues, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Wouldn't surprise me. Amelia Clark's eyebrows. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Savacom actually asked a question which I wanted to respond to, but she might be feeding her cats right now. So, hey, Savacom's cats. Let my people go! Yura asked a good question too, but I want to answer Savacom's one first. This is the greatest kind of pixel hunting right here. I'm just running around jumping periodically to force the camera to hopefully show me where the items I need are. So Savacom asked, so we were talking about how terrible the voice acting is here. And Savacom said, if one of you, for the theater, or the rewrite, sent in a take as bad as this voice acting, would I throw it out, or would I post it on Discord to make fun of? Now, I'd like to think that you know me well enough to know this. But if I get a take that bad, generally speaking, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to be a little bit polite, because politeness is a thing. I'm going to approach you in private and say, so, listen, this is bad. Here's why it's bad, ... This is not an acceptable take. Please redo it. Here's some suggestions on how to redo it. Now, let's say you gave me another take that was exactly as bad. This has happened, by the way. I was like, oh, okay. Right. At that point, I usually would just quietly try to reassign the role. Or, as you say, just throw the take out. I can't think of a circumstance in which I would actually share on Discord a terrible, terrible take. Like, that's just mean, honestly. I try not to be mean. Has anyone been booted out of role because they're bad? Yes, but not in quite a while. That happened during the FF9 theater. And when I say that, I mean the original FF9 theater. The one before the Chapter 5 break. Back when we didn't have a lot of interest and I almost abandoned the entire project. Okay, well, we found a thing. Did they take it well? I will never know. They never, they just kind of vanished in most cases. Like, I haven't seen Shuryu in years. I haven't seen, oh god, I can't remember all their names even. There are several people who just kind of up and vanished, and hopefully they're okay. I never found out what happened to Deutsch. Excuse me, I never found out what happened to Shuryu. I never found out what happened to several people. I probably shouldn't be naming names. I don't know, Lunaruth. It would have been either FF9 or Undertale, one of the two. I mean, we spent 4 years working on the FF9 theater. That was a long haul. I don't know if Syldeer is okay. And that's all I have to share on that. Open rejection, Ect. Ghosting sucks. So Yura asks, what genre of game would you be most excited to make? The reason I wanted to answer this is twofold. First of all, I'm curious what you all's answer would be. So, let's say you can just make a game. What genre would, as Yura says, you would be most excited to delve into making? Same exact animation. Are you gonna tell me what it does? Eh. Actually, while we're here. I'm good with that. I need to release one more powers. Oh, pick the thing up. There we go. So I think that's our last or second to last sword. No, that's our last sword. It will definitely be very different. Look at that. Look how different that is. Have we ever given a negative for Kit before? Oh. Anyways. I mean, I would be really down for a Star Citizen-like game that actually was what it was supposed to be. My answer is either a management sim, a 4X game, or a grand strategy. I think those are the games I would be most interested and most excited to get on board with. I've already done this one, right? Oh, I never actually did it! No wonder it's been weird. Right, because these assholes got in the way and then I got started talking about Dutch angles. That's on me. I'm terrible. Don't worry, next game, instead of me just being lost and confused, you'll see me getting my ass handed to me. Because the next game is the hardest game in the franchise. For good and for bad. 3 is the one I am most likely to just go ahead and turn on easy mode and accept that. Well, it's easy to ghost someone when you don't have to ever see them again or interact with them again. It's very easy to ghost someone on the internet. Yeah, I'm gonna start on normal, obviously, in 3. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So Yura asked another question. So Yura says, if I understand correctly, the denser the negatives are, the worse the golden number will be, right? It's interesting because if a game has a lot of negatives but are not dense enough because the game is super long, rendering it more torturous experience. So the interesting thing there is it's... God, I was actually looking into this because a lot of people were disagreeing. And by a lot of people, I mean 2 people. We're disagreeing with the DMC1 score, which I still stand behind, by the way. Part of the problem is setting up a formula for what I want the golden number to be involves making a couple of compromises. One of those compromises is that anything we value as a multiplier of score, positively, by default has to be a multiplier negatively as well. So you're probably thinking, well, hang on. Density wasn't that high in DMC1, so what pushed it so further down? Variance, which is something we don't actually talk about all that much because it almost never comes up. So, if there's a game with plus 50 to story and plus 1 to gameplay, and then a game with plus 50 to gameplay and plus 1 to story, neither of those are great games. A game with plus 50, actually plus 25 to story and plus 25 to gameplay will probably score higher than the previous two, because something I value a great deal is both. Now, there's a couple ways to calculate this, but what we do is we come up with a... Savicon came up with some wonderful things for you. It's one of the reasons we did the Secret of Stars run. But the long and the short of it is there are numbers which pull out multipliers based on not just density and not just net score and not just ratio, but variance. The gap in between gameplay and story. So, to use this in the reverse, a game that is negative 50 and plus 1, or plus 1, negative 50, will score better than a game that is negative 25, negative 25. This is the core reason why DMC1 scored so badly, because it was bad on both axes and in a very similar way. Like, there was very low variance in DMC1's score. Does that make sense? Yeah, I can reach the demon world. I really don't want to, Noctis. The people who would answer that question, however, would be Rax, Bragwin, and Valvedrix, because this is their stream. I don't think any of those three people are here right now, ironically. Nope. StarCraft 2 with Gambit sounds awesome. We'll finish the game today, or maybe tomorrow. Or Monday. Gambits is putting scripting AI into the player's hand, put simply. So you like boss reuse, right? Now, do you notice something? Notice how it's automatically fixating on his head instead of his weak point of his back. That's okay. We can shoot his head. But it's just... It's a really minor thing, but it's another reason why this game is even worse designed than the first game in terms of its boss design. I shouldn't say that way. The first game actually had some decent boss design, but my point is, this game doesn't. I actually have already given that PB good fate. The reason DMC is so beloved is because DMC1, and insert 5-minute speech here, you can see it at the end of the highlight reel of DMC1. But the other reason DMC is so beloved is because of Devil May Cry 3. Which I do plan to talk about at the beginning of Devil May Cry 3, which might be today, or it'll be tomorrow, or Monday. Depending on if we do Lucia's campaign, which will really drag this on. I mean, watch the beginning of the highlight reel of DMC2 Act, and you will see the answer to that. Yes, I know it's not live yet, but the whole explanation will be there. Oh, it's much worse than just Rush. Seriously, watch the beginning of the DMC2 highlight reel. Just watch the DMC2 highlight reel. Just do it. Just do it! I spent an hour on that mission. Almost an hour. I'm glad you're liking them, Walker. You have to pick one for your initial game, Giga. Your initial campaign. I mean, that's never coming back, Act. Ever, 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 ever. If I win the lottery, the rooms are not coming back. In fact, something I've been telling my friends for years is that if I won the lottery, I would discontinue the rooms immediately. Okay, so you want to make an RPG. Got it, Giga. I'm actually amused how many people picked RPGs. I don't blame you. There's a lot you can do with RPGs. Let's see. Any questions from people who are here? Looks like a no. Fife asks, is this game getting the garbage tag? Yes. You kind of have to. So, Ect asked a question. Can I specify which new meme or lorium when the est is editable? You have to. If you don't, then it's invalid. It'll get deleted. Like, that's how that works. Like, if you decide to say, yes, I would like to nominate a game for Game of the Year, and you don't put the game there, then that nomination, excuse me, is just getting deleted. Because there's no nomination. I track how many people talk, Lunarith. There is no perfect metric for keeping track of viewers. The actual Twitch viewer indicator is not only wrong half the time, but bugged. And even then, doesn't really give a good indicator of how many people are currently watching you. And there's some other unrelated issues I don't feel like getting into right now, so you can't trick me into this. Don't trick me, Lunarith! But I keep track of how many people talk. That's how I track viewership. And I know what you're saying, but that means if somebody doesn't say anything, they're just lurking, they don't count. Yep. Now, I don't mean they don't count as a person. Obviously, they're still a person, they're still a lurker. But my point is, I don't track those as far as viewing figures because there is no other way, really, to accurately track viewing figures. In fact, it would be more accurate to say there's no way to accurately track viewing figures, period. So this is the compromise I've decided to make. How many people are actively engaged in the stream? See, that doesn't do anything, Dark Day, because that only counts as one. You, Dark Day. That's what counts, not the amount of lines of text or whatever. What? Rather than do this for another 3 minutes, I'm going to Google this. Google, Google, you're the one. You were so extremely evil. Or, I mean, sorry. I'm going to double check. Because, yeah, I don't want to waste the time on being dumb again. Okay, so that was 13. That was 14. Oh, yeah, I need to jot down a negative for that, speaking of which. You have to kill all the enemies in the timer. Why, Edward Bador? Why do you love DMC2? Explain yourself! I don't understand your question, Act. Here, do me a favor, Act. Type in exclamation mark GOTY right now. Go ahead and type. Type it! Why aren't you typing it? Because there's a delay on the stream. Well, type in the past then. God, man. I have to think of everything. And that's how Elon Musk would stream. Well, here, I'll type it. Because I don't actually have the sheet that I'm looking at. Okay, so. That's what you do, Act. Does that make sense? I feel it's easier to just do a quick visual presentation rather than trying to explain. So this is mission 15. So we already did 10. I'm sorry, give me a second. I need to double track some things here. Yeah, this game has a plot, technically. Anybody who has been a part of the show for the last year, Dr. Winter? Okay, so that was mission 12. Mission 13 was that, so mission 4. Okay, so I'm caught up. I'm caught up. Rax, do you want us to do the Lucia campaign? Yes or no? Valvedrix has abstained from voting, so it's kind of on you and Bragwin at this point. All right, Rax votes no, so it's all on Bragwin. I don't understand. Why would you need to create a column? You just here's and then here's another game. Yet another game. What do you mean by creating a column? I don't understand the question. I'm sorry. There's the nominations. You put your nomination there. You're done. This is so simple. What am I explaining badly? What is not understandable? God, why am I so stupid? Okay. And yeah, if Bragwin, we need to be quiet, but if Bragwin votes something else, then that means that Rax and Bragwin are going to have to devil trigger, both of them, fight to the death. One of them gets Yamato, the other one gets Rebellion. I don't care who nominates what. It doesn't matter. Now we are gamers. No, Battle of the Heroes, Edward Bador. I don't remember. Which song is Bury the Light? Oh, I don't remember that one off the top of my head. I still need to buy DMC5 soundtrack. I'm gonna get to the end of this. There's gonna be one enemy that survived. I bet you money. Nope, we're good. Oh, well, that would explain it then, Bellatrix. It's not open for editing yet. We're not done yet. It was agreed upon that until we get to the point when we're done with the DMC series, we're not actually going to open up for editing. I'm just giving it there for people to link, to have an access to it, or to, you know, bookmark it, or be aware of it, or be thinking about it, or whatever. Nah, no toasts, Zach Taft. Nobody likes toasts. Would I go to a party where I like everyone but really hate one person there? Only if I can punch that person, like right in their stupid, ugly, dumb, stupid, ugly, dirty face. Which probably means no. I'll just be there in boxing gloves, and they'll be like, "Lore?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I see the person. Bam! And then it's just like, you know, boxing gloves come off, and we can enjoy the rest of the party because they're knocked out for the night. Trust me, they're not getting up from that. Thank you, Edward Bador. I do always appreciate. I will put that towards what I believe is the usual at this point. What are you going to donate towards once that's funded? Best spin-off game? Well, let's look at our list here, shall we? Because I'm already inclined to say no. Because, first of all, the definition of spin-off game is a little bit more gray than it should be. For example, Portal 2 is arguably a spin-off game, but it's actually more like a sequel to a spin-off game. Parasite Eve could be argued to be a spin-off game. Metal Gear Solid could be argued to be a spin-off game. Super Mario RPG is definitively a spin-off game, so that's cool. But then we scroll down a little bit here, and we get to... Oh, I don't know. I know there's another one I was thinking about for that. Elden Ring, which is a spin-off of Dark Souls, arguably. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, which is a kind of an asterisk in the same way that Portal 2 is. Because at that point, we're just talking about best spin-off franchise as opposed to best spin-off, which is a different thing. And I think I'm going to just say no. I don't think we need to add that extra layer to it. Not that I'm saying no to new suggestions, just I don't think that one works. Who's my bet for the World Cup champ? Spain! Yes, I get it. All right, hang on. There's actually a couple of bugs I'm dealing with right now. One of which might be fixed. Croatia is playing Croatia. Yeah, that's the joke, Act. That's the joke. Aw. Well, thank you very much, Walker. Merry Christmas. And I do appreciate you participating in the theater. I hope you'll be in either the rewrite or the FF4 theater, depending on what you want to be a part of. Either way, thank you, Walker, very, very much. Okay. Back to giving all the negatives. Yes. All of them. I'm going to laugh when we get to the audit and there's going to be other things which are like, oh yeah, I forgot to give a negative for that too. Because that's what's going to happen. many orbs are we up to? Nowhere. Okay, cool. I suppose I could level up a sword. Sure, why not? Udina! Oh, we're not doing a Mass Effect rewrite anytime soon. Yeah, we came up with, and by that I mean you, came up with the storybook, excuse me, the storybook tag this year. I believe the garbage tag actually showed up this year as well, if we're being honest. I could be wrong. Aw. Well, thank you, Justin. You don't have to not lurk, really. It's just... First of all, thank you. I will put that towards the Zelda block. There's no good way to track viewership. It doesn't exist. It's not possible. It's one of those situations. This is a real-life problem for a lot of things when trying to get statistics. Anybody who's done any kind of statistics will tell you about this. I think you're right, Valvedrix. So you have to decide what counts as a statistic, to what extent. Let me use a direct example. Viewership count, right? If someone clicks your stream on accident for 2 seconds and then immediately closes it, does that count? That's a decision you have to make. That's something you have to track. If someone, how many people... So one of the things Twitch likes to use as an example is how many people are concurrently viewing. What's your max concurrent viewers? That means how many people are on all at the same time, right? I don't like that particular figure because all that does is track peaks in your stream time. And if I'm being completely blunt, is also a misleading number for several other reasons. That's why I track chat. Now, one person could say one thing in a 4-hour stream and that counts, and therefore that's a little bit misleading, but at the same time, it's all I've got. It's the decision I've made. I've decided that of the various bad statistics that exist, I would prefer to keep track of how many people are at least interested enough in engaging. And I should also mention that if I, like, let's use a direct example, because I do have something to track this. Let's say, random example, let's say Kay shows up and throws some giant ASCII dick pic up in chat. Now, I then immediately ban Kay, because how could you do that, Kay? However, with that ban, that actually removes him from counting. He no longer counts as someone who has chatted because his messages got deleted. So, because of the fact that Kay is so horrible... Sorry. I'm poking fun. I apologize. Yeah, exactly, Charlotte. Because I can keep a degree of control over who counts and who doesn't, I think that's about as accurate as I could possibly get for viewing figures. Is even if someone shows up and says at least something, as long as they're not a bot or a dick, which will get banned, which will discount it, they're at least engaged enough to bother to say something, right? Ergo, that's actually specific to the metric I go for. So Twitch does not care about that or track that at all. No, Amelia Clark's eyebrows. So how many of you have ever seen those bots? Hey, we're at the corporate level! The one I remember the worst. How many of you have ever seen or like an advertisement for a bot that says, we'll boost your viewing figures on Twitch? The way they do that is there's ways to embed a stream with no video showing, muted, like in the background of other videos. The most common example of this by far is Wikia. It's actually one of the reasons I hate Wikia as a site, is because Wikia does this constantly. They will have streams playing in the background, and that counts for boosting your viewing figures. And there's a lot of ways to do that, and I hate that crap, but the reason I bring all of this up is in response to Amelia Clark's eyebrows. Twitch will keep track of that viewer, but the fact that they're muted, or it's inactive, or it's minimized, or it's paused, doesn't matter. It's a viewer. Yeah, fandom... God, I hate fandom so goddamn much. Excuse my language, but... Oh. Yeah, some sites don't do that, like don't sell that service. Instead, they just do it to boost their own streams. For the record, I do not do this. The reason my stream is on the front page of my website is so you have a quick and easy access to my stream, which is my job, my primary show output. Bloodgoat's one of my favorites, personally. Look, it's literally an elevator. It's okay, Giga Pudding. We love you. Not your fashion sense, but the rest of you. Nothing, Giga Pudding. Please don't stab me. Oh, God. I still wake up and I see the pig lurking, haunting me. Thank you, PB Good Fate. Very, very much. Always appreciate. I will put that towards dealer's choice. I will hopefully someday get to play games I want to. I say that so harshly. I'm looking forward to every game after this one, so it's not like this is some horrible torture to go through, but I'm looking forward to getting to the runner block. I'm just going to say that very, very bluntly. It has been months and months. Months. Oh my God, are these actual textures? That's a good question, Kay. The answer to my knowledge is no. It's partially brown. Yeah, like I said, I don't think we've ever given a negative for kit before, but all our swords are the same. Like, I think there's some minor changes between them, but they're the same. That was a weird camera jump. Did you see that? Camera, do you want to help me navigate this instead of just working with the enemy, please? Thank you. See, that's an interesting question, Blade Tavol, and I've been thinking about that for a minute, and I think... Yes, I think bad kit qualifies as bad gameplay. Not absence of kit, bad kit. You know why? Because bad kit means one thing. Boring. If this is melee combat, this is melee combat. This is kind of it. We got that, and that, and this. And that's it. That is melee combat in this game. That qualifies as bad kit. Hi, Loader. Really, Edward Bador? Oh my God. Oh my God. You made me sneeze. Because how shocking that was. Let me use another example. I know this is going to sound like a funny one. So, let's say you're playing a Mega Man game. I don't care which one. Pick one that's good. And you go through the Mega Man game, and you only ever have the lemons. No weapons, no rush, no charge, no slide. Now, I know that's a weird one to point out, because I actually like to do Buster-only challenge runs. But if that was all that was to the game, that would suck. because of absence of kit. What was the question, Loner? I guess you can't answer it. My question won't show up. Well, what's your question? Yeah, I don't mind doing Buster only as a challenge, as a self-imposed challenge. But yeah, going through, I don't know, Mega Man 5, which is one of my personal favorites, with Buster only would be awful. Oh, excuse me. You sure, Kay? Because I know what you're talking about in the first game. But I'm not having a lot of luck in making that happen in this one. Favorite video game challenge ever? Ooh. I'll answer that one, or rather, I'll open that one to the board to answer, too. Anybody have a favorite video game challenge to do? The queue shouldn't get rearranged, but I never promise that, because every now and again something changes, or maybe something gets added where it would be better to be played against X, Y, or Z. So the queue will probably be in the order that it currently is, 5. I got nothing, Kay. Yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, I'm defaulting, admittedly, to Mega Man Buster only speedruns. I suppose I could lie and just say speedrunning, which is a form of a challenge run, but I don't want to cheat on that. It feels cheaty. Like, you're seeing it, Kay. I don't have to, like, make you take my word for it. You can see the pausing I'm doing here. Oh yeah, 4-job. You know what? 4-job Fiesta. That's actually going to be my answer. The 4-job Fiesta is my favorite challenge run to do. I love Mega Man to death, but 4-job Fiesta is awesome. I've never gotten tired of it, and I wish I could do it every year. No, it's okay, Kay. I'm pointing out that I'm showing my due diligence here and not just being like, trust me, man, I'm totally trying it. So you like, this is actually Capcom headquarters, at least in the views of the developers of this game. What is 4-job Fiesta? Really? Well, let me show you a cutscene that will perfectly explain what the 4-job Fiesta was. Now that's a good question, Loner. Let me ask you a related question. I want you to imagine there's a beloved franchise, and you've got a director tapped for that to do a film adaptation of that franchise. And that director has gone on record multiple times as saying how much he has no interest or passion for the franchise in general. Why do you hire him? Well, no, I'm just kind of making a point. The answer in the specific question I'm asking is I don't know. I don't actually know why they got Michael Bay to do Transformers. There are plenty of good reasons to tap someone who doesn't actually like a franchise to do something. Maybe they're talented. Maybe they're a relative, and there's some nepotism going on. Maybe they're a friend, and there's some nepotism going on. Maybe they've got dirt on you, and there's some corruption going on. Maybe there's politics going on. I guess these aren't good reasons. But the point is, there are plenty of reasons why that kind of thing can happen. Like, why is there a giant spider in Wild Wild West? Because one executive had a burr up his ass about giant spiders. That's not a joke. That's a real thing. That's just how things happen. So unfortunately, the answer is, of course, I have no idea, but there could be a lot of different reasons. And frankly, most of them aren't going to be valid. Now, there are valid reasons. I'm going to be tooting my own horn a little bit here, but why do people want me to stream Elden Ring, knowing that I do not like the Dark Souls series? For example. So, that was the primary lieutenant of the main villain of this game that we just killed. I'd love to give you the full in-depth lore of it, but honestly, I just did. Like, that's it. That's the lore. That's the main lieutenant of the main bad guy. Not the corporate dude, the actual villain. Thank you, Edward Bador. I will continue to put those. Sure, Kay, I trust you. It's not going to be filled with giant dick pics, right, Kay? Because we're going to have a talk if you do that. I'll put those towards Deus Ex Human Revolution. Yes, his name is Bulwark. It's the guy we just fought. It's okay, Spartan. I accept that. I mean, Twitch could just be twitchy right now. Lord knows that's a thing. Spartan had a question. There it is. Do I ever look at a corridor of a particular counter of a game that I know and love and just rage to myself, how much of my life have I spent on this particular thing? Yeah, I've played Final Fantasy XIV. I use speech to text. I hate typing on a phone. Well, to be more accurate, I hate typing on a touchpad. Probably FF14. Immediately Clark's eyebrows. I'm not even going to check, because I'm pretty sure it's FF14. Yeah, if you ever wonder why something I say doesn't really make sense, but if you say it out loud phonetically it makes sense in Discord, it's because I'm on my phone. Hi, Larian. FF14, could someone link the whole meme really quick? Hang on. I don't trust you, Kay. So I'm going to click this extremely virus-riddled thing here. So it's after 2. Thanks, Dr. Winter. What? Either way, I stand by my statement that the combat in this game is terrible. I'm giving a negative for it. That's not really going to change. I'm just saying. Is my phone fully ad blocked? No. Hey, Luco. Yeah, I think I could get an extra swing. So what I just did was not at all what Kay was describing. What I just did was this. The hell is Freedom Phone? Oh, thank God, we're out of the demon world. Whew! We're just in corporate America. I didn't know you could even backtrack to here. Yeah, I have accidentally fired on 2 targets at the same time once in the entire game. And I even noticed it happening and was like... Wait. Wasn't able to replicate it, because I have no idea what I hit to do it. I figured out how to shoot down, though. Oh, right, I need to... See? I mean, it's dumb and it's stupid, and Chrome is dumb and stupid for doing it. Like, I don't have anything new or fresh to add to that. See, actually, you're wrong, Kay. I hate to say this, but you are definitively wrong. Because the way you do this is you double jump. That's it. That's the trick. If you shoot after doing the double jump, you always shoot down. Whereas if you do it normally, you do that. That's how you trigger it. Anyways, hi, Bregwin. Quick question. So, Bregwin, since this is partially a thank you stream to you, everyone else be quiet for a second. Would you like us to fully complete the game, or only do about half of it? For the record, we're not at the halfway point yet, if that matters. Oh yeah, by the way. Behold its glory. Camera. Well, with Valvedrix abstaining, that means 2 to 3 regardless. I cannot see what I'm doing. This is actually really bad. Don't worry, they're just prepping everyone for me, Dark Day. Well, I'll be right back. I've already answered that before, Triaxia. I'll even answer that again. I should explain. I didn't brush my teeth this morning. You're probably thinking, who cares? A long time ago, back in about 2004, an incident happened to me which caused me a great deal of aggravated damage to my throat. Now, it's one of the reasons why my throat has been so sensitive ever since. It's actually the reason, primarily. So if I don't brush my teeth and floss and all that fun stuff regularly, my throat just kind of hurts and gets worse and worse and worse. And I was sitting here thinking, I'll be able to beat this game before it becomes an issue. And I was wrong. So I just got up to brush my teeth. Ah, good, Dark Day. Yeah, the moment I started pushing left, it worked immediately. Okay, go figure. I use an electric toothbrush, admittedly, but I don't think I have any thoughts on the between the two. It's whatever you prefer. I like my electric toothbrush. What do you want from me? Why am I using this terrible weapon? I'm kind of with Brax on that. I just tell him straight up. You're like, look. No, dude. Interesting. What?
Don't speak. Just die.
Okay, believe it or not, the sins that he's talking about are actually related to the only lore this game has, which I'm not going to talk about yet, because it's not really relevant yet. We'll get there. The best part about this lore I'm going to share with you at some point is it actually doesn't fit with the entire rest of the franchise. Like, if you eject this lore tidbit from DMC as a whole, the overall timeline makes much more sense. Kinda, yeah. Dark Day. Yeah, I believe that's the second boss to actually speak this entire time. Wow, that was a full devil trigger. That's impressive, really. You know, since this is probably going to be a minute, why don't I go ahead and just explain the extensive, in-depth lore of Devil May Cry 2. So back in the day, there were these two supremely powerful demonic princes. Both of them were vying for control over the Demon King. Who was the Demon King? No idea. Doesn't matter. Those princes were Mundus and Argosax. Now, both of them were rivals. Both of them wanted to take over the rulership of the demon world for themselves. However, in the end, neither of them could really claim it universally. So instead they decided to split rulership of the demon world between them. Then, about 2,000 years ago, keep that in mind, Sparta was like, dude, what are you doing? Quit it. And beat Mundus. Sealed Mundus away. Remember that too. And then Mundus was like, well, shoot. Argosax then took over the entire demon world and ruled the entire demon world. Then about 1,000 years pass, and this is when the timeline starts to fall apart, because after 1,000 years of Argosax completely ruling the demon world, he decides, you know, it'd be cool. I feel like ruling the human world, too. So he decides to go and conquer the human world. That's when the Guardians, that's what Metria, or whatever her stupid name is a part of, and Lucia, are like, yeah, we're going to go and stop you, because we don't particularly want to be ruled by Argosax. So Argosax is defeated by Sparta, and sealed away, as usual. And we're dead. Cool. So, when Argosax was defeated 1,000 years ago, ... and then another 1,000 years pass, where absolutely nothing happens whatsoever. Okay, I'm being slightly facetious, but for the most part, nothing happens for that second millennia, other than something I could literally fit into a footnote. Then Mundus, who is free now, never explained, decides to go ahead and kill off Eva, excuse me, that's Dante's mother, and Sparta. Now, then we're going to enter another little ... period, because you're probably thinking, Lord, tell me the in-depth, extensive lore of how Sparta died. I'd love to. Would you believe that in 6, technically, games and an anime, and some little side novel kind of stuff, there is no information on what actually happened to Sparta. He's just gone. Anyways, the reason this is all relevant is the final boss of this game is Argosax, who is now trying to free himself once again because he's dumb. Now, if I might be so bold, this timeline might at least be the kind of thing we can headcanon through a couple of loops to make sense, right? We can look back at it and say, okay, hold on. So, Sparta, Mundus takes over. He eats the Cliff-Oth. Remember that for later. He eats the Cliff-Oth fruit, becomes super powerful, fights all the other demons, takes over the demon realm. Sparta fights against him because of God, as we've already talked about. And Sparta's like, all right, look. And Mundus gets sealed away. And then Sparta goes on to just kind of the Cliff-Oth. Don't worry, it's spelled even worse than it sounds. And Sparta goes off, kind of does his own thing. He gets involved with the Fortuna people, right? Like, all that stuff happens from 4. And then, at the end of it all, Mundus has successfully broken out enough to actually do something, starts sending out orders and sending out minions and gathering power to himself, makes the assault on Sparta's family. We're cool. The problem is they insisted on shoving this extra millennia in the middle here by forcing Argosax to be a part of this story. This is a very repetitive song. Game. Game, you gonna let me... There we go. So, Argosax is just kind of crudely shoved into the middle, which already causes issues timeline-wise. Because what that means is that Mundus was sealed away for 2 millennia, and Argosax ruled everything for a millennia, uninterrupted. And nobody gave a crap or did anything about it. And then there's also another extra millennia of nothing in the middle there. But hang on. The real problem with Argosax is that wonderful, terrible problem. I don't actually have a Lorium for this, but it's the Dragon Ball Z problem. Right? This is an enormously common problem in fiction. Alright, so the last villain was Bob. So the next villain has to be just as powerful as Bob. Or even more powerful than Bob. Bob plus 1. Yeah, right? And then the next villain will be Bob plus 2. And that's the problem with Argosax in a nutshell. Now, I should probably mention for just a second that it is possible to introduce a brand new character, usually a villain, who is even more deadly or powerful or terrifying than the previous one. But it's hard to do. It requires care and effort. There's not even like one thing you can do to make it right. You won't even believe number 10 on the list of things you can do to make this work. But the way it works is by care and effort and work. You have to actually work for it. If you don't, what you have is Argosax, who is totally just as powerful and just as overwhelming and is just as much of a demon king as Mundus was. Trust us, wink. Yeah. And that is the lore of this game. Pretty much all the lore of this game. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, I'm gonna switch guns here. No, Ect. Yeah, you'll notice the artificial demon thing has not even been brought up in this game. Okay, this is not doing any more damage. Cool. I'm gonna try something else out here. Well, that's the thing. Why would Dante be a sinner? See, that's a double joke. Wow, I literally am having trouble hitting him. Yeah, the irony is Argosax could have just been another demon who is vying for the throne, now that Mundus has been defeated. That's not only easy, that makes perfect sense. But no, he's just as big and powerful. Trust us. He's huge. He's so powerful. He's so amazing. Honestly, yeah, it is kind of a Ranjit situation. Trust me, Ranjit is just so amazing and so incredible and so powerful. He's so much better than all of these things. He is the greatest. Good question, Krenzler. Good question. Thank you, Claude Anderson. Always appreciate those subs. I will jot that down for Entropy02. Cashel has tasked me with making a proper remake, or let's call it what it is, a reimagining of DMC2. How do I expand upon the threadbare story and characters of the game into something worthwhile that adds substance to the series as a whole? I'll open that one to the board, too. Okay. This is the most obvious change by far. But make Dante Dante and not whatever this nonsense is. Like, that's the easy change. I actually like the corporate angle. I think we could do a lot with that. Even beyond the obvious, haha, corporations are evil. Okay. I know this is going to probably raise some hackles, but actually I'm going to take that back a little bit. Don't make Dante Dante. I don't think that would work. Make Dante Lady. Canonically, at this point in time, she's already working for the Devil May Cry branches, and already been doing some work with Morrison. Make Lady the main character of this game. Change the playstyle substantially to accommodate something they've already hinted at several times. Have Lady be the one who goes off to this random corporate area because Dante's busy with whatever and or doesn't care. So she's going through this whole thing. Establish a little bit more of who the protectors are, do a little bit of world building for the greater world, emphasize a bit of the background element that there's actually multiple different, let's call them not quite cults, throughout the world, all of which are cults of Sparta that Sparta specifically set up during the giant gap in between Mundus's defeat and Argosax's, and the death of his family. So Sparta basically established all these cults on purpose, like the one on Fortuna, but also the one here, as a defense against demons, knowing that someday he wouldn't be here, so he wanted humans to be armed with knowledge and tools. Lady goes through this game, pulls out, several of the Sparta demonic artifacts, which of course work for her because of her particular backstory. And there you go. Make Argosax, make corporate evil guy, some corporate evil guy who stumbled across the knowledge of demonic artifacts and demonic power and said, man, I can't wait to get my hands on some of that there power. That's fantastic. And yeah, we could also, if we wanted to flesh this out, since this is a full reimagining, we could say that Lady is pulled out here. But the cult she's working for is actually subverted. The only reason I'm hesitant to do that is because that's exactly what happens in 4, but whatever. The point being, there's stuff we could do with that, and there's stuff we could do with Corporate Dude. Corporate Dude could also be like, I've got an idea. Hear me out. Demons. And I could picture, I want you to picture the cutscene. I want you to picture the board meeting where he's out there and there's a whole bunch of boring people in suits. And corporate guy, who I'm going to keep calling corporate guy because that's how much of a character he is walking through being like, all right, everyone, I've come up with our next major product line. It's going to really be boosting our quarterly return. It's going to ensure that we have a really good ROI going forwards. Ladies and gentlemen, demons. And then everyone's going to look at him weird. Because the one person's going to, like, kind of awkwardly laugh. Like, so, is that like a brand name? And one other person says, ooh, an energy drink. I like that idea. And someone says, yeah, let's get... And they start, like, talking amongst themselves about all the different products they can make with the demon brand. And the whole time, corporate guy is just like, no, you're not getting it. And so then he summons a demon, and they freak out, and the demon kills them all, and it's really, really just silly. Like, just make it as ridiculous. Like, have him ranting. Make him this kind of just almost non sequitur character. It's like, don't you understand? Why are you running? Why are you running? Stop running! The demon works for me, you idiot! God, I just painted that wall. What are you... And yeah, just make the whole thing super cartoony, right? Really lean into it. And then he's just like, okay. Betty, two things. First of all, send me some candidates for a new board, staff board members. And second of all, cancel lunch. I'm not in the mood all of a sudden. Pause. And send me up a latte, would you please? And that's how you establish areas. That's what I would do with Devil May Cry 2. I could have done that while fighting this boss, but honestly I hate this fight, so... Wow. I cannot dodge that attack. Wait, you just now got paid, Sierra? I'm like, Jesus Christ. But it's different. No, this is the greatest game ever made in the history of the ever. We're almost halfway through his health. And I'm on the verge of death. And probably about to die. Wow. Didn't actually die. Came very, very close. I will finish the game today, since everyone voted we're only doing half the game. Well, except for Valvatrix, who abstained. But we have a majority vote. And we're dead. As it should be. Wow, we're actually really close to the end. There's 2 boss fights after this, and that's it. That's the strategy? Oh my god. So, only one of the boss's heads takes damage. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that just makes sense, Lore. You just need to find the right head and kill that one. Yeah, that would be nice if I could do things like, just random example, target, instead of just shooting whatever the auto-target has decided to shoot at. Now, I noticed that one of the heads was taking more damage or some damage or whatever earlier, but the strategy is shoot the correct head. That's it. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Hence my term. That's the strategy. Neither flicking works. I didn't think it would, but I can stop targeting. That's R2. I wonder if it changes, like, who's actually the correct head. Well, that's even better. I'm betting it changes every time it does this thing, if I were to guess. By the way, this attack can actually hit the entire platform when he's low on health, which is why I was having trouble dodging it earlier. Because, again, iframes are terrible. Well, we found the right head. It's fire for this second. Nope, fire! Fire! There we go. Well, it's still not ice. And it's still not thunder. You got it, Sirma. Give me one moment. Oh, let's just not dodge that. Note to self. Throw that in slow-mo. I want people to see that. Ahem. Thank you, Sierra Mike. I will jot that down to the battle zones. And to being paid. Like I said, I want to show that in slow-mo on the highlight reel so you can see what I just saw there. That nonsense. I mean, the dodge in this game kind of sucks. But, you know, whatever. Okay, so let's see who it is. It's not ice. This is why I'm so happy that ice has decided to grace me with his presence. It's still fire. That's either RNG or it doesn't change. I'm not sure, and I don't care. Listen, I know that you appreciate the animations, Kay. Really, I do. I even have categories for pluses to animation. I don't think this game is getting a plus for animation. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Oh my god, I dodged it. Okay, still not ice. It's still fire. That's kind of weird, but I'm not going to question it. It's honestly could just be really weird RNG, Krenzler. Oh no, we've got 2 bosses after this, Mr. Red, and then we got the final boss. Depending how you define it. Don't worry, we'll die a whole lot on the final bosses. Both of them. I look forward to it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be pizza. It's gonna be gluten-free pizza for anybody with allergies. When you say the second to last boss, do you mean Arius or the second to last boss? Because Arius is next. But by my metric, there are 2 bosses after Arius. Yeah, I noticed that too, Kay. It's just there's a little bit of reflex in that one. That's on me. Yeah, that is the second to last boss. The one we're going to be dying a lot to. I look forward to it. Oh yeah, we'll have some cauliflower pizza. We will have rib pizza. I'll finally get to share rib pizza with Pedora. We'll have plenty of rib pizza, because I bet a lot of people want to try that out. We'll also have proper artichoke pizza, so people can try that out, too. So, barbecue chicken pizza? No, we're going to have good pizza. I'm joking. I'm actually going to hold off on buying anything right now, because we're not going to get a lot more red orbs, so whatever we buy next is probably our last upgrade. Baked potato pizza? That just sounds weird. Mac and cheese pizza I've seen. Wow, that moon has suddenly decided to move very quickly. Look at that. Ooh. I've had mac and cheese burgers, too. Those are pretty good. And now I will release the game earlier than ever.
I will become an all-powerful immortal!
This voice acting is just... It's not a meme, Lunaruth. I just really like rib meat pizza, and you can never find it.
What? What's going on?
Is there a problem?
You! Is that the medallion? You switched them?
A false coin for a false god.
What he said.
Showtime.
Showtime. I can see my enemy. So anyways. There's some lore to this fight, but honestly, I don't care. There's some artificial demonry going on here, and I don't care. Lucia was an artificial demon, and I don't care. Using technology in order to emulate magic. Something that'll be done to much greater effect in Devil May Cry 4. You know my favorite thing about the ad fights in this game? For reasons that are best left to the imagination and have been solved since the arcade era, when a boss's health bar is up, it overrides all the other health bars. So you can't see the health bars of the trash, you just wail on them until they die. That also means if an ad is, for example, invincible or has infinite health, you have no way of knowing that. It's just, you know, you keep wailing on it until you give up on wailing on it. I can't move. I'm just getting stun locked over here. Just, wow. Not that I'm aware of, Valvifix. If you're paying attention, this is almost identical to the previous fight, except for the introduction of the Lucia clones. Arias himself is just as boring as he was last time. I think he has 2 new moves, and I think you've already seen both of them. And that's the Arias fight.
No! My dream! My life! I was going to be the king of this world!
King? Yeah. Here's your crown.
So, final bosses time. I'm going to go ahead and chop off the guessing game now. So, this is a good time to go ahead and get your guesses in. Well, you see here, Mike. I don't actually know. It might be licensing issues. I know that there are certain pieces of military hardware which are like uncontrolled or unlicensed or whatever the proper term, public domain, in other words. And then there's some that you actually have to license, like the Hummer is probably one of my more infamous examples there. So it might be related to that. I don't know, though. I'm going to type up a few things while you get your guesses in. I guess that's a good point. A Stinger looks like a cool rocket launcher. Because it is a cool rocket launcher. Where is Quest 64? There we go. Sorry, it's taking me so long. Here, have some Mega Man music. Oh, I did, Mr. Red. But then again, I've played this game before. uh, um... Okay. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Can you even think of a game that has worse enemy AI than this one? For those of you who've played this, all three of you. Big rigs! Hell yeah! I haven't played Serious Sam, so I can't speak to that. I'm hearing a no. So we'll give it the full triple negative for it. I haven't shown it off all that much this particular playthrough, but trust me when I say the enemy AI is bad. I think the best showcase I showed of that was the tank, when we were fighting the infested tanks. I'll give you one last moment to update your guess. Given the new information on the HUD. Sorry, one moment. Again. No, don't do that. How do you do that? Okay. So having done all that, I'm going to go ahead and chop off the guessing game. Give you a few seconds. Couple of seconds. Just in case. Nope, it's chopped off. Okay. Let's do it. Final dungeon. Outro time. So we killed the final boss. But then the blur came back.
You defeated Arius. There's just one thing left. Kill me. Kill me and everything will be over. I thought I was a descendant of the clan that protects Videmarli. The ones who have the blood of the devils. But the truth is...
I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch! I'm not even going to begin to question the physics of what's happening here.
What? The ritual was incomplete. But the door to the demon world is... Wait. What are you doing?
My job is hunting devils.
Once you enter the demon world, you may never be able to return. I'll go. I'm expendable. You don't need to worry about me. I'm happy if I can die like a human.
No. Devils never cry.
But...
Let's leave it to fate. Heads, I go. Tails, you go. see you around.
Don't you want to hear the story about Sparta from Mathieu?
I know. He did the same thing. Hold on to my coin, Lucia.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. Wish me luck. Recognize all the bosses and Griffin for some reason. Look at that health bar. My goodness. That is impressive. Double wow. Okay. So, I actually did that death on purpose because I wanted to show off that the shotgun attack actually does spawn multiple projectiles and each one does damage. So if you're up close, that's what happens. So, if there's ever a fight that really, really wanted you to be ranged, it's this one. Oh, I think we got... Okay. So that one's dead. Yeah, you already see where this fight is going. You see how narrow the timing window is to actually hit the damn thing, by the way? Have you noticed that all the heads actually attack more frequently when they get low in health? Two heads down. Yeah, I usually save this one for later for obvious reasons. This is the recovery head. I think he does have one attack that can hit me, but he just decided not to do it, so... Remember her, right? And then there's Phantom, obviously. What's funny is this could be an even worse fight. Imagine all the heads fight you at the same time. Imagine the heads respawn. Hi, the end of the line. How's your day going? Because I'm playing Devil May Cry 2. Thank you for the sub. I will jot that down. Almost said, I'll jot that down for lasagna, because my mother just told me about the lasagna she's making. I'll put that down for dealer's choice. Oh, if you die at any point of the fight we are currently doing, you get to start all the way over from the beginning. There's a reason I start with the building head. Lasagna sounds really good! Exclamation mark. Maybe I should make one today. Period. Although I don't have any of the prep work done. Period. How do you miss an entire word? I make a damn good lasagna, but, you know, I doubt I make that good a lasagna. See, the trick to having good lasagna is meat! All the meat! Honestly, I probably should have done Phantom second, as I'm thinking about it. Griffin is... So, the building head is the worst, then Griffin, then Phantom, then the others are whatever. That sounds so terrible, Spartan. Good lord. Of course, I don't like Italian dressing. I should probably actually look at the screen while I'm doing this fight. I really don't want to start over. I don't do dressing. So, I suppose that answers you. This is ironically the most boring and tense one of them for me. This is all he does, and it's a little harder to dodge than it looks. Well, it's a little harder to dodge and also attack. It's easy to dodge. But your animation locked for just a little bit after shooting. Oh, absolutely, Spartan. You ready for this? An actual mid-mission checkpoint. I mentioned this earlier, but this is what I was thinking of when I thought of actually giving that positive. Now, I'm not going to give the positive, as we've already demonstrated. But thank God we don't have to do Phase 1 again. This is why I knew there were mid-mission checkpoints right here. Because Phase 1 can go to hell. Now, you're probably thinking, Lord, this is close to an actual boss fight. And you have to sneeze. Okay, sorry. There we go. This is close to an actual boss fight. The problem is, a lot of things prevent this from actually being a good fight. Not the least of which being the fact that its attacks, are... Their hurt boxes are wrong. I'm probably not demonstrating it as well as I possibly can. And you'll notice that this is at the level of, like, the first Nilo Angelo fight at best. And then you add in the fact that the dodge kind of sucks in this game, and then the melee sucks in this game, and then shooting sucks in this game, and it just... It doesn't have the recurrent systems to really make this fight be actually what I would call good. Yeah, exactly, Rex. So, yeah. You know me, I am harsher about outros than any other part of the game. This is not good enough to be a positive. But it is the best fight in the game. Make of that what you will. Yeah, it's good enough for this phase to not get its own negative. Which is good, because the first phase is getting quite a few. Yeah, by the way, the main reason I kept improving Devil Trigger throughout the game was specifically for this fight. So I could just have as much of it as possible, just pour some damage into the boss. Like I just did. So a minor thing, the attacks they do depends on which gender they are at the moment. You probably haven't even noticed, but they keep switching between the two. It's the closest thing to an indicator that this fight has, but the problem is, A, it's really hard to tell at a glance, and B, there's plenty of other indicators of which attacks they're about to do anyways. So it doesn't really add anything. Probably K, but I have no idea what triangle is, so I'm not even going to try it. Time. By the way, Argosax, the great super powerful person who is more powerful than Mundus. Zero lines of dialogue. Only character with less lines than Dante. So this is the ending.
Yeah. Let's go all the way to hell.
That's it. And we have unlocked Lucia mode. I wasn't joking, by the way. That really was it. That was the ending. Yeah, we're riding all the way to hell. Chunk. You know, every time I see that particular ending, there's only one thing that I think of, and that's the ending to Ride to Hell Retribution, which ends on a motorcycle, where you send a motorcycle off over a cliff, and as you're going, you're saying, "Stay cool," in like the most generic tone possible. And that's what I think of every time I think of Devil May Cry 2's ending. The end.
Devil may cry.
Oh, sorry. Check it out. I forgot to show this off. There's the diesel. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad Tiny Hippo's Croatian brethren are playing well. That was worse than I remembered. And I've played this game before. All right. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do our audit. Let's do our due diligence. Let's get this over with. I'm sure everyone wants to drum roll here. Not yet, of course, because we gotta do the audio. Let me get you some music. I hope you like Mega Man music, because that's what you're getting. Okay, fine, here. But, yeah, this... Where the hell is DMC2? There it is. Okay, I found it. All right. Yeah, let's listen to some Capcom music. I mean, I'm not going to give this game a music positive. Because I can think of games, bad games, plenty of bad games that have good music. In fact, there's one that came out this year from the same studio. Not Mega Man 3. That's Mr. Red. The timing on that was just amusing. You sure you still want me to review Kingsfield 4, Mr. Red? You sure? After today? Are you sure? Are you prepared? Oh, that's... Thank you, Mr. Red. I will jot that down for Kingsfield 4, The Legend of Terrible Trilogy, and Terrible Streaminations. There is another Spyro trilogy, which I totally own a legal copy of. Wink. Oh, some people have asked how I'm going to review the Lucia campaign. Because normally I review all the content in a game in part of the review. It's actually a major component of the reviews. But since everybody has voted... well, okay, Valvedrix abstained. Why are we on loop? How do we get on loop? We have a 2-3 vote to not review the whole game. We're not reviewing the whole game. So this will actually get the incomplete tag. I don't know what... oh, DF, Dragonflight. No. I've had, like, no time to play that. You kidding me? I haven't had time to fix my website. Yeah, this game would get more negatives if we did the Lucia thing. I'm so tempted to just say screw it and do the Lucia thing anyways. I'm actually tempted to say that and do that. I really am. Because every other boss would be more negatives, even if it's the same boss. You know what we could do? You know what we could do? Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me look something up. No, I'm not YouTubing it. We only did that once, and that was for a very specific reason. Let me do something. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let's redirect. Ignore chat for a second. You have my permission to be terrible in chat. Because there's definitely not a chat log that I'll be able to check later to see if you were terrible. But if you tell someone it's okay to be terrible, and if they are, well, then you'll learn a lot about that person, really. My face isn't bald. I got hair here, man. Well, I have an idea that might speed it up. We've talked about this before. It's possible to cheat in a game and still properly judge it by paying attention. It requires a little bit more focus from me to do, because I have to be kind of guessing what the game would be like without cheating constantly. But I can do that. I've done that before. So why don't we just cheat our balls off and see how this works? Now, if the balls cheating doesn't work, well, okay, then we'll chop it. But if we can just spam Ultima through the game, you know? Like, you get the idea here. You get the perspective. I actually gave 2 of those. That's funny. Well, that's a good question, Fife. We're gonna test it. And yeah, we've already given the itemization ultra negatives because it is bad. So we'll see. Also, if I do this properly, we can turn cheats on and off, which, hey, that could work even better. We didn't even get the SMG. So no. That's right. We must suffer. We must be as accurate as possible for how crap this game is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we're down here. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 more boss negatives. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've gotten the SMG before. Perfect, Casual. You win. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a positive for the Lucia side. I rather doubt it, but it is possible. I don't like to use trainers if I can avoid it. Trainers cause too many issues. And when I review... When you stream as much of a variety of games as I do, there's too many possible holes for you to grab a bad trainer. This is specifically the... I think this is the Mission Complete song from Mega Man X7. All this is Mega Man X7 right now. Did I already? I did. It's turned down because the game manual... yeah, I usually use Cheat Engine, an old version of Cheat Engine, which isn't crap. The stream's audio is turned down specifically because the game has no audio sliders. So I turned it down to spare you what I've been hearing this whole time, which is... You know, ironically, I kind of screwed up, so I don't have a way of testing if there's New Game Plus. I didn't do that on purpose. I forgot to save after beating the last boss. Yeah, the gunfire spam and the audio spam in general, which you'll notice I gave 3 negatives for, is really bad. By the way, I'm sorry, Rex. I want to do my job, you know? Professionalism. I want to review this game. I want to show it in all its glory. There's so many negatives, it's taking me a while. I'm just entering the existing negatives into the audit sheet for when we do the actual audit. Because all these are codified. Everything I'm entering right now is in the game. No, I have to be professional, Blade Taval. Just because someone's a dick does not give me a right to be a dick. And just because someone doesn't do their job doesn't give me leeway to not do mine. Yes, we need to dig down. Down! There is so much more down we could go. Where the hell is it? There it is. Sorry. While finding my... God, I've got like 10 more negatives to add into this stupid thing. I know people put effort into this game. That's the best part. Okay, there. Finally. Alright, now let's see if the cheats work at all. That's the relevant part. So, I need to figure out how to start a file as Lucia. Oh, right. I know how to do this. I have to actually exit, which is this button. Then I have to start the game again in Lucia mode, because technically it was on a different disc, remember? Hopefully it's grabbing that properly. I mean, this game is playable, which is more impressive than you'd think, given the state it was in a few months before launch. We'll find out, won't we, Mr. Red? Okay, so Lucia mode. This should be fun. Let me do something here. Okay.
Devil may cry. In a time long since past, in an age of darkness, when the earth was overrun with demons and humans were powerless under their rule, humanity's hope lived in a demon named Sparda. With a spirit unlike any other, and wielding the sword that bore his own name, Sparda eradicated the demons. And now, the legend of Sparda has been inherited by his son, the demon slayer, Dante.
I'm just letting this play on the off chance it's different. I don't actually know which cutscenes are different. I've never played as Lucia. As I mentioned, when I rented this game, it didn't have the second disc, so wasn't even an option.
You called?
Till next time, son of Sparda.
Okay, so completely the same cutscene. Cool. Riveting. Alright, hold up. Does she have Devil Trigger? Well, I don't have any right now. Hang on. Alright. Let's go ahead and do... I don't know, this. 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 I think that should be sufficient. Oh, God, that's going to be so terrible. Okay, good news. We just crashed the game. No, really, that means we might not be playing. Hang on, let's see if we can. Let's do our due diligence. Let's not give up on the first pass.
Devil May Cry HD Collection.
All right, let's play for let's unlock some stuff. God, why does she play so weird? Oh my God, that's awful. It's actually worse. It's different. So that's cool. Oh God, that's actually hard to control. Why is there nobody here? Like, this is a sprawling town, right? Where is everybody? Oh God, her jump is, like, hard to control massive. It's a little bonkers. Yes, we're back to Village Skybox. Yeah, to this day, I'm not sure why they insisted on the Lucia mode. And when I say insisted, I mean this was a marketing gimmick, as I talked about already. It's why they had the whole two discs to include all the action thing on the back of the, like if you found the box, it says that on the back as a back of the box feature. This was considered a selling point. No, I don't know why. Okay. I've got good news. I'm lost already. I guess lost is the wrong word, but it's like, what do you want me to do here, game? I mean, more content equals better is the plague of the video game industry, and if I'm being honest, also the movie industry, and the television industry, because it affects all three of them. Is this seriously a pixel hunt? Is that what the game expects of me at this moment? Is that where we're at now? Is that our life? Okay. But seriously, how many of you can think of a modern movie or show, game? Thank you, Valvatrix. I like how it's a white barrier instead of a red barrier, because that would be silly. Anyways, how many of you can think of a game show or movie that is too long? That is padded. Let's just call it what it is. Stretched out, artificially, specifically to be longer. I mentioned movies specifically in that group because there's a weird trend in Hollywood specifically that a film... It's actually more complicated than I'm making it sound. If a film is a 90-minute film, then it's a kid's film. But if it's a film for adults, it has to be longer than 90 minutes. I'm not making that. You can look that up. It's become a standard sometime in the last 20 years. I'm not sure when that became a thing. But it has become a thing, and I don't know why. Or rather, I know exactly why, I just don't agree with it. The idea is that a kid can only be forced to sit down and enjoy something for X amount of time. Therefore, the short movies, by default, have to be the kid stories. I don't think I need to explain how bonkers stupid that is, but you get the idea. Now, as usual, the length of the film isn't necessarily the relevant point. It is the density, just like a game. If you use your time well, then cool. I'm curious of something. I know this is a cliched example, but I'm using it because it's a more modern film. Infinity War. Actually, arguably Endgame, but especially Infinity War. While there are some padding moments, overall I think the runtime of both of those films was what it should be. I didn't feel like it was being artificially stretched just to make the runtime longer. Then you have weird cases like the Eternals, which should have been shorter and longer at the same time, for different reasons. How long was Knives Out? Can someone look that up for me, please? Two hours, okay. So, Knives Out would then be another example of a movie that's decently long, but uses its time so well that I could barely tell that it had been that long. Yeah, the pacing in Knives Out is excellent, is my overall point here. Good density, good pacing. So again, my overall point is the length isn't really the problem. But I suppose my overall point is, I could point to a lot of older films back before that 90-minute standard started being a thing, which are perfectly good, perfectly dense films, which are actually relatively short, at least compared to modern films. Despite not being kids' films. Like The Lion King, wait. Hollywood always does dumb things, though. How many of you remember the Damn, I can't think of the name of it. Hang on a second. Excellent, Shadow Machine. I look forward to you joining us in the grand and glorious future of the PC. New PCs. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do a Google, like, reverse engineering to figure out what it's called. So give me a second. Damn, it's not... Does anybody know what Chinatown, the film, was specifically made to be in contrast to? Or in opposition to, might be a better way to phrase that. Is this it? New Hollywood. That's it. That's what it was called. New Hollywood. Sorry. So that's a hell of a train to get back to that point, but the reason I'm bringing all that up is that Hollywood has always made dumb decisions with regards to what is required in their cinematography and required in their filmmaking, and New Hollywood is a perfect example of that. I actually recommend anybody interested in film history at all look that up, because it was a interesting set of rules, to say the least. And it pretty much directly led to a lot of films, like Chinatown, which were made for the sole and explicit purpose of being anti-New Hollywood. So this is going to sound interesting. I think Lucia plays worse. But is more fun as a result of that. To explain that a little bit, I always go back to this example, I know. How many of you have played Trine? Any of them. There's 4 of them. And they all have the exact same problem as each other. And that problem is that they're all janky as hell. But the games are designed in a way so that that jank, that terrible design, is fun. The jank is part of the enjoyment factor. This, playing as her, is janky as crap. It's hard to explain if you're not on the controller. She is almost too responsive, except when she isn't. Like, in some ways, she plays identically to Dante. And then in some ways, it's like, what? Huh? What? Wait, what? The very nature of how her dodge works is completely different. I don't even know what the iframes are on it at this point. And it is all over the place with her movement. As mentioned before, this is basically an enemy being made playable, which actually is a really cool concept, and only a very few amount of games have done something with that, but... yeah, her snap is insane, honestly. And her follow-through feels a little bit more smooth than Kay's. Kay, you are now Dante, than Dante's. But she plays wrong. Like, it feels... unprogrammed is how I would explain this. But I think it's accidentally into being more fun as a result of that. That's a good question, Loner. So humans, as with most settings that includes humans, demons, and angels, although there's no angels in the setting, humans tend to be the variable group. They can do kind of whatever the hell they want to by virtue of being humans. So a human can learn these skills. Lady is probably the best example of that, although there's also Nico and several other examples that we'll see throughout the course of the series. However, a recurring trend in the series is that unless you get some kind of external empowerment, you can't hang with the top tiers, right? So someone like Nico could probably kill low-tier demons, but someone like Lady could kill higher-tier demons, but someone like Trish could kill even higher tier, but then you have to bring in the really big boys like Dante or Virgil to kill the highest tier. This series, this franchise, also leans very heavily into the idea that a hybrid is better. That a hybrid has all of the powers of both and none of the detriments of either. Okay, so we've gotten our save in. We haven't actually cheated yet because the last time we cheated it crashed the game. But now we've unlocked a few things and a few mechanics. Let's try to cheat again. Let's do this. We got this. We've got this. Maybe. We might not have this. We did save. That's why I wanted to get to this point before we even tried this. Okay, so that didn't work. Maybe. Yeah, V is another example of someone who, through knowledge and effectively nothing else, manages a great deal of accomplishments. But even V is substantially weaker than the others we're talking about. Nope, that's still not working. Okay, hang on. Let's try this then. That's a good question, Trahexia. A very good question. Alright, so let's just buy something. Interesting. So let's try something else here. Right, give me a moment. Interesting. Hang on. That explains that. Okay, alright. I hate when games do this. I really do. I've encountered this too often in my career. There we go. Well, I mean, considering how expensive these are, the odds of you being able to buy more than one at a time is almost microscopic, so... Makes a degree of sense. Oh, ho, ho, okay. 40,000, huh? My bad. Give me a second. God, this game is ridiculous with its itemization. Immediate crash. Wow, okay, hang on.
Devil May Cry HD Collection.
Definitely gonna do 2 more attempts here. We're gonna do our due diligence here, but holy crap. Well, we still have our health and stuff, so that's cool. Cool. Let's go ahead and try one more thing really quick here. Yes, start scripts. Let's go ahead and hit that button and that button. If these work, we're good. If they don't, oh, whatever, honestly. Moment of truth. Come on, hit. Oh, that doesn't work at all, so that's cool. Although that's funny. Oh my gosh, it's a slightly different animation. I'm a little shocked by that. Let's do it. Let's do... So that's not working. That might be working. Let's try those. That is also not working, so that's always cool. So this is, technically level design. Nope. Does not want to work with that. So we can cheat in orbs, and that's it. Let me try one more thing real quick.
Devil May Cry HD collection.
This. Ooh. Let's do this. Ooh. That's not working at all. So yeah, we can only cheat in orbs. I don't know, guys. What do you think? It'll be faster, absolutely. We'll beat the game today, almost guaranteed. Less missions and much more upgraded. I think I'm going to go for it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an early lunch. And I'm going to basically commit to beating this game today, one way or the other. And then 3 will start tomorrow, one way or the other. So anybody wanting to see Devil May Cry 3, that's tomorrow. So we'll see what we think of this, but I'm going to go do the lunch break.